use words, they use bullets.
This is the man who shot Charlie Kirk. This is the man who shot Trump. This is the man who killed Melissa Hortman. This is the man who tried to kill John Hoffman. This is the man who tried to kill Paul Pelosi. This is the man who killed an Obama-appointed judge's son. This is the man who hired hitmen to kill Democrats. This is the man who ran over a left-wing activist and killed her. This is the man responsible for the Austin bombing. This is the man who sent pipe bombs to Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton. This is the man who shot Gabby Gifford. This is the man who tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, and this man, and this man, and this man, this man, this man, this man, this man, this man, and this man. This is the man who set Josh Shapiro's house on fire. This is the Oklahoma bomber. This is his accomplice. These are just a few of the men who beat police officers on January 6th. I can think of a few things they have in common, and it's not the way they use their words or their left-wing politics. Part 2. Killed 10 black people in a Buffalo grocery store. His motive was, quote, to prevent the elimination of the white race. The El Paso Walmart shooter, he shot 45 people, killing 23. He thought he was acting at the request of President Trump to stop the invasion. He also cited the Great Replacement theory. The neo-schmatzi who killed 9 people at a black church because he, quote, had to do something. This is the Pittsburgh synagogue shooter. His motive was to stop white genocide. This was the Oregon shooter. Police found a manifesto where he went on a lengthy rant about black men. The Dollar General shooter, his motive was a hatred for black people. Despite previously being involuntarily committed, he was still able to legally purchase the weapon. Florida. This is the Oxford school shooter. His parents gave him a 9mm for an early Christmas gift when he was 15 years old. They were so excited they just couldn't wait till Christmas. This is the FedEx shooter. Police found that he was viewing not like propaganda online and that he wanted to demonstrate his masculinity. Man went on a shooting spree in Atlanta, killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women. This was the Dayton mass shooter, shot 17 people, killing 9, including his sister. And previously suspended from school for having hit lists and rape lists. The Santa Fe school shooter, one of his victims rejected his romantic advances. This was the Thousand Oaks shooting. This is the Parkland shooter, Sutherland Springs shooter, Las Vegas shooter, the Sandy Hook shooter. This is the Aurora Theater shooter. He had an obsession with killing and chose the weapon that would allow for the maximum amount of casualties. These, of course, are the Columbine shooters. The Chardon school shooter, who was upset that his ex-girlfriend had a new boyfriend. The Georgia school shooter, he is not transgender, no matter how many right-wing AI-generated memes tell you so. Father gave him an AR for Christmas when he was 14. Part 2. Killed.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruchach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta. And you just saw this clip from Arrows of Indignation 144. He always has some of the best clips on his channel, so like and subscribe, or just subscribe to stay informed, really. But yeah, you saw that. That's the bloody man that is being revealed before our eyes. He's being revealed. These are not white men. These are Edomites. Edomite being Esau, being the twin brother of Jacob, in which these people, through their Judeo-Christianity, basically try to pretend like they're Jacob and like they're morally upright. But these are the Edomites. This is the devil of the Bible. Not the white man, but the red man, because Edom means red. And they're called red because you could see the blood through their skin. And the Edomites are known as being a bloody people, and they're also known as being a deceitful people. And so they lie, and they lie, and they lie. The best example of their lies is quote-unquote white Jesus. If that's not deception, then what else is? And if that's not being the devil, then what else is? They put themselves up as the Lord's people. They stole the Lord's land of Israel, to go through with all that. And this is the time of their exposure. They're being exposed as being the Edomites. They're being exposed as being the true problem of the earth, and the biggest liars of all time. They're nothing but liars. I go to that because of not that one. We'll get that one later. But let's go check out what Rebecca Jones had to say. And she's great. She's a leftist, but if you go to her page on Twitter or X, Zitter, whatever you want to call it, it's a complete troll account for all of the so-called quote-unquote conservatives, basically for the Edomites. She's toying with them and giving them what they really are. And here's an example of it, of their stats, because we know they like to pull out these stats that are really just made up stats. They get them and they tweak them and pretend to be using them, but they're wrong if you're not bringing up yourselves. And then these stats that these Edomites bring up, they still don't take into account that they're the ones behind this. You'll see 13% of the population, but they're however much crime, 50% of the crime. And it's like, why are we in this position in the first place? Because you put us into this position. You put us into a position of having the fathers taken out of the homes. You put us into a position of having demonic rap music pushed onto us constantly. You put us into a position of being in the worst places within the country through your different laws that you've passed, your redlining. You've put us into these different positions, and you pretend like you have nothing to do with it. You have everything to do with it. And they like to point the finger at us so that it gets away from what they're doing. Because remember, they are the devil. So they do the vast majority of the crime. They're criminals. Crimson's a shade of red, and they are the red people. Rebecca Jones said, despite making up only 28% of the USA population, which is a jab at them, only 13% of the population, but 50% of the crime, jab at them. FBI data shows that white men are 55% of kidnappers. I believe that's probably higher. 56% of seizures of, this R word. 58% of mass shooters. 59% of child corn arrest. 62% of statutory R's, the P's, the PDF files in which they are. And we know this. Look at the Catholic Church. Look at the Baptists. Look at the Methodists. There's always something coming out about some children being touched. Of course it's them. They're the problem. They're the ones doing this. Their blessing, going back up to this 58% of mass shooters, their blessing is the sword. And the modern day sword is the gun. They use that. That's how they took control of this land, and that's how they've stayed in control. They do these things. 63% of solicitors, prostitution solicitors are them, which, because they've driven a wedge between the genders from the top. Their elite did this, pushing out their feminism. They pushed that out, and that's driven a wedge between the genders ever since. And they did this, at least with the second wave in the 60s and 70s. Really, they did this and aimed it at so-called Negroes. Because you look at our marriage stats in the 50s, so-called Negroes, which the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are and do make up the majority of Israel. We are the Israelites, as well as are scattered. So we're scattered throughout the four corners, and we're going to come back looking like the other nations, but primarily we are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Just like primarily so-called white people and so-called tiny hatters, those are the Edomites, primarily, because some of them, the world would call white, some of them go back to Israelites, or some of them could go back to another nation. But primarily, that's who the two nations are made up of. But going back to this, 63% of prostitution solicitors are these white males. Because this pit that they dug for us, which I was saying back in the 1950s, we were up there as far as marital stats go. We were, I want to say it was like 90% married for so-called African Americans or Negroes, between a male and a female. And then you get into the 60s and 70s, and they started pushing this. They started pushing the Section 8 and all these benefits, which pushed the man out of the house, and they started pushing this independence to our women. And now you look at our women, and they're the least likely to be married of all nations. They pushed this onto us, and then now that pit that they dug of feminism is falling onto them, and they're having a hard time actually keeping families, building and keeping families, all the way to where their birth rates are so low that there's almost no rebound for them. The Lord's made you small among the heathen, greatly despised. 68% of 1934 NFA offenders. And then this big one down here, 75% of incest perpetrators are white men. This is who does this. And you go back here, going back to her Twitter.
I have a lot of news and information
I
have to catch you guys up
right
with.
Here, she reposted it.
First, I just wanted to check in, say thank you for all of your incredible support.
White men are. Because X is supposed to be a free area for white men to spit their false statistics. You can't go putting truth on there, Rebecca Jones. You know that. But yeah. And this is, Elon bought this for truth, he says. This platform. But obviously you speak too much with this. This isn't even that hard. But speak too much and it gets taken down. They don't take down the other actual racist things that are put up on here. There's lots of really nasty negative things that are put up on X, but this is what gets taken down. But yeah, her site's funny if you go through and kind of read up on
that goes into your tractors, your excavators, your skid steer loaders, your forklifts, and
this is the DOJ quietly deletes study showing white supremacy outpaces all extremism. And there just is what it is. Of course it is, because they're falling. They see themselves falling, and they're trying to stay relevant. They don't realize how far they're actually going to fall, in which some of them might actually listen to the prophets, get all angry, drink a Budweiser, and then go burn a cross or something. But yeah, these people are falling. They're about to go into slavery, the most hardcore slavery of all time. And this is what's deserved for them, because they are nothing more than bloody, violent men. Deceitful, bloody, violent men. So we go to Psalms 5, and we'll start at verse 2. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my power, for unto thee will I pray. You go right back up to the top, and it says prayer for protection from the wicked. The wicked's the Edomites. You could go to Malachi 1 and verse 4. The wicked are the Edomites, so-called white people, and those people that have the tiny hats claiming to be the Lord's people. Those are Edomites. They're not righteous people. Verse 3, my voice shalt thou hear in the morning, O Lord, in the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and will look up, for thou art not a power that hath pleasure in wickedness. When you look at this earth, the world, we are bathing in wickedness. This whole world is polluted with wickedness, riddled with wickedness in every facet. people's minds are all in total confusion. They think the Lord is actually a quote-unquote white man. They think his name's something else that it's not. They follow pagan holidays and then in the same breath will tell you that they're saved. This world is in complete and total wickedness. And these are some of the same people that think they are, whatever. This is just a wicked, wicked place. And it's so wicked, the Lord is going to make a great, great example of it. It says, neither shall evil dwell with thee. They think that the Lord hasn't said anything to them for so long or judged them for so long that they're all together the same as the Lord. But they are not. They're about to see. It says, the foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Foolish, going into the Edomites. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Just sin upon sin. And that's what these Edomites have brought into the earth. They tell people, while holding the book, they tell people that the law is done away with. All while sin is actually the transgression of the law. These are workers of iniquity. But here's the point here in 6. It says, thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Leasing goes into lies, which is Strong's H 3577, kazab, which is a lie, an untruth, a falsehood, a deceptive thing. Literally an untruth. White Jesus is an untruth. Those people claiming to be the Lord's people with the tiny hats, them saying that they're the Lord's people is an untruth. That's Amalek, to be very specific, and they're the people who the Lord said he'd have war with from generation to generation. Calling them anything else is an untruth. Figuratively, idol, which white Jesus is an idol. It says deceitful, them changing around. They're just a deceitful people. Everything they say, and them trying to put their stats behind it, like this guy who's all in the news. Them trying to put their stats behind it is just deceitful, false, leasing, liar, lie, lying. These are the liars. They are nothing more than liars. It says, thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. So these Edomites, because he's going to destroy them. Isaiah 63, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? It says, the Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man, the Edomites. They're bloody, they're deceitful, and they lie. And I was going into the deceitfulness because of this article here. So after we just saw that lady go through all the images of these mass deleters, we get this article from a pastor in Texas. We're not going to go too far into it because it's really all nonsense, but he says, pastor says parents need to talk to kids early about the danger of black strangers. This guy, the bloody man, the deceitful man, says that parents need to talk to their children about black strangers. It's you. We just saw where you lead in the kidnapping statistics. It's you. We just saw where you are the PDF file. Or you should maybe tell your kids about Pawpaw, because we just saw that you are the leading statistic in incest as well. You're the people that need to be talked about, and the world needs to wake up to you. This is a Texas pastor, white nationalist, and podcast bro, believes white parents should be having the talk with their kids at an early age, but not the one about birds and bees. On September 8th, 2025, Pastor Joe Webbin and his staff published an episode of their podcast, Right Response Ministries, where Webbin says that white parents need to have conversations with their young children on the dangers of black strangers. And he goes further into it, but really, it's just
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and the YouTube Music app all together. One subscription, 2 apps. Try 1 month free.
so that the heat is taken off of them. It's the accuser of the brethren. It says the talk that we're referencing, Webben states, is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time. It says there are certain parts of town that you cannot go, and there are certain people that you cannot be around, right? Webben labeling this as the talk is a direct jab at how black families actually teach their kids to face life in racist communities and societies. A conversation that has lasted lifetimes is said by Kalia Archie. Black parents teach their kids to keep their hands visible during traffic stops to avoid sudden movements, to de-escalate interactions with authority figures, and to navigate a world that sees them as a threat before they even open their mouths. And this goes into the curses being on us and Esau being in his blessing currently. So we live in a world of complete and total Edomite supremacy. It's a world of Judeo-Christianity and Edomite supremacy, which those are the same. That's basically what it's trying to say. It goes on to say, if there's someone who is black in our church and they've been in our church and we know them and they love the Lord Jesus the Christ, which if you love the Lord Jesus the Christ, you are an Edomite supremacist. That's not his name. J's the newest letter to the alphabet. This only goes into white supremacy, Edomite supremacy. It goes with that image hand in hand. If you're calling on that name, you are an Edomite supremacist. Since we're not talking about that person, but we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and the YouTube Music app all together. One subscription.
We just saw the facts. Esau. We just saw the facts. 55% of kidnappers, white men. 56% of ARPists. 58% of mass shooters. 59% of child porn. 62% of statutory ARPists. 63% of prostitution solicitors. 68% of 1934 NFA offenders. 75% of incest. White men. Them's the facts. Them's the facts, man.
2 apps. Try 1 month free.
What are you even doing being a pastor? They only do this to make themselves try to look good. This is the man of sin. The man of sin is being revealed. This book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 10. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. And so here comes the kingdom of heaven, sitting under Yahweh Bashem Shai, under King David, under the 144,000 men of Israel. Israel being the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This kingdom comes and it hinges on the direct destruction of Esau's kingdom, where we are currently. It hinges on the destruction of America, which is Babylon the Great. Hinges on the destruction of the beast, which is NATO and the EU, and it hinges on the destruction of the Gentile kingdoms. We are in the time of the Gentiles, and Jerusalem is being trodden down of the Gentiles until this time is fulfilled, but it's coming into fulfillment. When it comes into fulfillment, Esau, you're going to be trodden down yourself. And the power of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. That word accuser is Strong's G 2723, categoreo. You can see this is where categories come from, to categorize. And that's what the Edomites have done with us. They've pointed the finger and blamed us. They have categorized us and tried to keep the heat off of their back because they are the criminal. They are the thief. They are the bloody and violent man. It goes with their blessing, the sword. Of course they are. It's them. But this accusing is coming to an end. You have to answer for what you've done, Esau. And no amount of finger pointing is going to get you out of this. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.